Happy Monday, my friends. Episode 288 of the Thadcast coming at you right now. My name is Thad Riley, and I'm fired up that you're here today for another Motivational Monday segment here on the Thadcast. And I have to tell you, out of all of my episodes, I am not sure if there has actually been one where I have been more excited to share this content with you. I think it is the word that we need for our world today, and it comes so much from the scriptures. I don't know what we would call this episode, maybe the hard, maybe the resilient, maybe the tenacious, but we're gonna talk a little bit about this idea of hard work. And what I wanna do is, instead of just trying to get you motivated, trying to get you fired up for the week, I want to work on that base. Because so here's a great example. When you're a dad to like 6 kids, one of the biggest questions that the kids ask you again and again is why? 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 And in fact, this flows over into so many other areas of my life. When I was a manager with Verizon Wireless for years, I always knew I had to bring it back to the why. Why are we doing this? Why is this new initiative important? Why does this matter right now in this moment today? And so what's important for us right now in this conversation is to take a step back. Know that hard work will bring success. You reap what you sow, right? However, let's get a basis for all of that. And the Bible does such a good job in that. And the first passage we're going to go to is Colossians 3:23 through 24. And it says, "Whatever you do, work heartily as for the Lord and not for men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the inheritance as your reward. You are serving the Lord Christ." The good news here is that this gets us off the ground with the initial piece of the why. Why do we work hard? Because no matter what the result is, God will bless us in this life or in eternity. Now, my bets are that if you work hard, you'll be blessed in this life. Usually, when people do work hard, there's some level of success that they'll have. But I want to take it even a step further back and say this. I believe with all my heart that each of us, as Psalm 139 says, is uniquely created. And God is the giver of good gifts. He is the one who individually designed you. Intelligent design, right? And so if God designed us and gave us these good gifts, and then we discover throughout our life what these gifts are, and then we use those gifts, what a magnificent fulfillment of our existence, right? And there's our why. God created me. He gave me specific and individual gifts. Therefore, I can go forward and work hard and use those gifts to impact our world today in amazing ways. And I do this for the glory of God, which we'll get to soon, but because of Him. And when we work hard, because this is how He made us, and in those gifts, it's so good, and we will have success. We will guarantee to have success, because if it doesn't happen here, it'll happen in all of eternity. And God will glorify us. And I know that sounds weird, but we will be glorified in the presence of God for appreciating and using the gifts that He's given us. We will be rewarded. It's so crazy. And then we'll give them all back to Him because He's so good. Philippians 2:14 through 15 says, "Do all things without grumbling or questioning, that you may be blameless and innocent children of God, without blemish in the midst of a crooked and twisted generation, among whom you shine as lights in the world." Dark times here in 2020, would you agree? And there's never been a more important moment for you and I to shine as lights. And we don't do that when we're grumbling or questioning every single thing that happens in our life. And what's even worse than questioning everything that happens to us is questioning each other and having doubts in each other and questioning motives, Have you ever had a friend and all they do is question people's motives? Like they think there's always something else going on there. And people right now are just like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to do my best, okay? So back off and give me some space, right? Those question the motives and they guess and they play around. They're like, oh, they must have done this because of this. Hey, get out of your head. Get out of your head right now and move on. And stop grumbling, stop questioning, and use the gifts that God has given you to lead a fulfilling and successful life. And that grumbling, I'm telling you what, that can be like a million tiny daggers in your own soul, but especially in the souls of people around you. And you better figure it out. Don't be a grumbler, because that sucks for everybody. It sucks for your family. It sucks for your friends. It's a choice. It's not a disposition. It is a choice. And what is the number one way to take care of grumbling? It's a GR word too. It's called being grateful. Being grateful. So important. Galatians 6:9 says, and let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due season we will reap if we do not give up. The good news here is that although we may not see an immediate reward and we may feel weary, we know that we will reap a reward one day because of Jesus, because of the heavy lifting that God has already done. How fun is it to know that no matter what, if you are working hard and using your gifts, that one day it will pay off. It may pay off immediately. It may pay off quicker than you ever imagined. But knowing that tenacity and perseverance produce good things in this life or in all of eternity, right? So good. It's so good. God is so good to us. Psalm 128 says, you shall eat the fruit of the labor of your hands, and you shall be blessed, and it will be well with you. God rewards those who work hard, and that reward can come in so many different and wonderful ways. And a lot of times it's just surprises. It's surprises after surprise after surprise. Psalm 90:17 says, let the favor of our Lord, our God, be upon us, and establish the work of our hands upon us. Yes, establish the work of our hands. Anything we set forth to do without God's initial blessing is going to be an ugly road to go. But when we give it all to God and we know the gifts that He has given us, we will be blessed, like I keep saying, in this life or the next. You know, my friends, a lot of this, what we learn from the scriptures, is the goodness of God manifested upon us and manifested in our world today. And what really matters is that we work hard, we use these gifts, and that we're available. And you see this all the time. The people who do work hard will have some semblance of success. And if you don't grow weary, like the scripture says, and you stay tenacious and you persevere, God will do amazing things around you. Here's a couple of practical challenges for each of us today. So first of all, and take a step back, and number one, say this. Do you believe the scriptures and what they say about hard work? Do you believe that your gifts come from God? That's step one. Do you believe that we are created to work hard and to be lights, right? And do we believe that God will bless that in some form and that we will have success? So that's number one, get the belief right, right? We've got to get the belief right. And then secondly is, what does that look like tactically then? What does that look like tactically every day? And so do you need to buy a planner and organize your hours of what you're doing every day? Do you need to avoid the distractions of social media? Or what are the holes that you get sucked into? Is it YouTube? Is it social media? What are those things where all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I just lost 20 minutes of my life doing this. It has no redeeming value when I could have been doing this other thing. You and I are adults though. We know how this works, right? We understand the gig. What's important is that we do the work. Is that we do the work expectantly and get it done. And don't let these distractions hinder us. But I would recommend that you get a planner. If you don't have one, get a planner and get organized and get after it. Get after all of your goals, all of your dreams. Finally, and I think I mentioned this earlier, you and I have got about 2.5 months left. This year could look completely different at the end of the year than it does today. You could go on a weight loss plan right now. You would contact me for that, right? And I could walk you through some stuff and give you coaching and encouragement on how to do that. Or do it however you're going to do it. But you could end up losing 20 pounds, 50 pounds. You could lose 50 pounds in a few months. David Goggins, I think, lost 80 pounds in 2 months. It's crazy. Don't lose that much. But you could lose some of the weight that you wanted to. You could run faster and further than you wanted to, be in the best health of your life going into 2021. You could work harder on your business, be more tactical, persevere where you haven't before, and you could see more success in these last 2.5 months. You could have more success in your marriage than you've ever had before. You got to do the work, and we got to stop grumbling, and we got to stop just letting life happen. Use the gifts that God has given you today. Give him all the honor and glory, and go forward, fired up, knowing you will be blessed. But you have to figure out the life that you're living. And is it good, or is it just not? And we got to go forward, and we got to move and make things happen. And I hope this episode encouraged you today to do just that, to take action, that it's not just words, that we're not just sitting here doing this thing, but that we're actually getting after it and allowing the Lord to do things in us that he's never done before, because we're so willing, so available, so tenacious, and we're so confident in him and what he will do. And I hope this encourages you today in so many ways, and to share this episode with a friend, or maybe on social media. Maybe email it to somebody or text it to somebody. Copy the link right there that you're listening to, and tell them that you hope that they're encouraged today as well to work hard and finish this year strong. We are going to finish this year strong. It's going to be a great 2.5 months, my friends. And as always, thank you for joining me here on this episode of the Thadcast. Share it with a friend. Do a review on iTunes. All the good stuff we always talk about here. We'll be back tomorrow with episode number 289. This was 288. And thank you again for joining me here today. And until next time, my dear friends, may you be blessed.